I'm not even sure how to make an intro. What if I just started sign languaging? I'm just kidding. I don't know how to do sign language. Hey everybody, my name is Ryan Harville, and today we're going to be looking at some of my old photos and some of my newer photos to kind of compare how I was when I first began versus now. So the purpose of this video is to hopefully encourage the new photographers out there to not worry so much about their craft in the beginning, because it is going to get better. Undoubtedly, you're going to progress in your skills. So even if you're not that great right now, you still have a ton of room to get better. Also, disclaimer, this is kind of the first time I'm talking into a camera, so some of the things I say might be a little weird. They might be kind of all over the place, but I'm going to try my best to make this entertaining for you. So anyways, let's do this. So the first picture here is, I'm sure it's a picture of a road at night. I was probably doing a long exposure and I had no idea what I was doing because everything is entirely blurry. The lights are blown out. This is probably when I just got my camera and I learned about long exposures, and I was just giving it a test while driving, which is probably the stupidest thing you can do when you get a new camera. And this is a picture of my chair that looks like it's been ripped to shreds, and the entire picture is blurry. It's ugly. Nothing's in focus. The wires in this room are everywhere. There's an old sewing machine under my desk. I don't know why I kept it there, but there was a sewing machine under my desk. Definitely giving this image a 5-star rating. So this is my first wedding. This is actually down in Florida. As you can see, the legs are cropped off at the bottom. I took no time trying to Photoshop any of the people out in the background. And also, if you notice in the corners, there is some vignetting going on, and that was because I was using a lens that wasn't very compatible with my camera. Speaking of weddings, here's my second one that I've ever done, and everything about these pictures was blurry, it was dark, it was noisy, everything's out of focus, and they paid me $100. I know they said they enjoyed their photos, but I find that hard to believe. Okay, so this is a really beautiful tree that was actually on my campus. I didn't know how to manipulate colors or anything, so this is straight out of the camera. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily proud of this photo, but I love the colors that came out of the camera alone. There's not really much to say about that one, except, you know, at least I wasn't taking pictures of shredded chairs and cables and sewing machines. New York City. This actually isn't a bad photo. I was actually playing around with perspective a little bit with leading lines, kind of creating this. Actually, you know what? I don't even know if I was trying to create anything. I was probably just snapping a picture of New York City just because I was there. I'm not even going to try to be artsy about this. So finally, I started to get a little bit more serious with my Canon T3i. This is when I purchased I think it's a 50mm lens, a 50mm 1.8. I was basically trying to stand close to the grass, trying to get different perspectives and really play with a lot of the bokeh. And I actually kind of like this photo. It's not bad. This was actually in Iceland, and I'm kicking myself for not getting it in focus because I was looking at the little LCD screen on the back of my camera rather than through the eye hole. If I looked through the eye hole, I would have been able to tell that this was not in focus whatsoever, but fun trip. I wish I took more pictures. Okay, so now for the second part. This was back in April of 2018 when I finally got my Sony A73. I started to take photography more seriously. This is when I started watching a lot of courses. I was on YouTube. I had videos of Peter McKinnon up all day, every day. So let's dive into where we're at now. So when I first got this camera, I just wanted to smash things. I wanted to get pictures of really dramatic things happening, and I still do. I love the dramatic, high contrast, high energy. I don't really know how to explain it. I was experimenting a lot with shutter speed, with lighting. For this shot, we actually took these Home Depot work lights. Yeah, we put the light right behind the stump and the glass where we smashed it, and it lit the scene perfect. So if you are looking for like a budget light, just go get some Home Depot work lights. After I used it, I sent them back. I didn't even keep them. Thank God I learned how to get people in focus. I'm really happy that I learned to play with some of the lighting, and if you can tell on her face that we did a little bit of reflection. So I finally learned that you can reflect light from the sun back onto your subject. That's not something people normally think about when they're just beginning photography. So that's what we did, and I'm really happy with this picture. I learned that natural is better. If people are having fun, if they're moving around, your pictures are gonna come out 50% better, rather than if you're just trying to pose them, move their head this way and that way, tell them to do all this with their lips. Now let's fast forward to some of the weddings I'm doing now. Like I said, everything in motion looks a hell of a lot better. This is probably one of my favorite photos at a wedding so far, is when they took the groom and just started lifting him up over and over and over and just throwing him into the air. That was such a genuine moment. And this is also some pictures with the bridesmaids, and they're just having a great time. So learning how to pose people better. And moving on to the next photo, this is when I got to work with a professional dancer. And this is probably my favorite photo that I've taken so far. I've got a few favorites, but this is definitely, if it's not my favorite one, it's definitely top 3. We were actually able to rent out the space for an hour, and it was such a beautiful spot. I was really hoping to put some fog in here, but the lighting came out perfect on its own. So what we did is we used a aperture 120D to light her up. So there was no flash photography going on at the time. It was just this dome that I'm using right now to light up my face. I'm sure you can see it in my glasses. So yeah, in this photo, I am working with how to separate the subject from the background. And one of my favorite things to do is just to light the subject with a single point light and then darken the rest of it either in Lightroom or just naturally have the background darker than anything around. This is actually from a mock wedding that I did. I'm very pleased with how this came out because originally I didn't think I could ever grab something like this. You know, my first wedding wasn't very good. And even though this is a mock wedding and I was telling her to come back and forth, I'm still happy with how this came out. And then finally, this image was taken recently with my friend Whitney. We did kind of a fall photo shoot in like a 1940 style dress. When I first started, I would just take pictures straight out of the camera, no editing, no composition, no thought in it, hardly whatsoever, and I would just throw it up on the computer. So if you don't have a really expensive piece of equipment right away, don't worry about it. They all pretty much look the same these days. Don't let that stop you. So with that being said, I'm gonna wrap up this video. I just wanna say thank you so much for watching, and hopefully this provided some insight on how photography can progress throughout the years, and things don't happen overnight. The best advice I can give you is just to practice and practice and practice and have fun with it. Make sure to have fun. Even though it is my full-time business, I still make sure to have fun, because when you're having fun, the client has fun, and when the client has fun, they just look better in their pictures. But if you keep those things in mind and just enjoy what you're doing, eventually you're gonna come out on top and you're gonna produce some wonderful images. That's all I have time for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to grow a little bit. Make sure to hit the bell next to the subscribe button so you can get notifications whenever I post a new video. Leave a comment down wherever the comment section is now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.